Hey YouTube, Dread Joker here, and today we're going to be taking a look at probably the best overall improvement on a Master Grade frame I have ever seen. This is the Master Grade 00 Riser. There is a premium Bandai version of this, the XN or Sun Riser, on the market that the second it comes back in stock, my brother and I will definitely be picking up. It is essentially this exact same kit with some minor differences. And by minor, I mean it gives the 00 a new set of equipment, basically a new backpack extension that can in fact combine with the O Riser and do a lot more stuff. So jumping right in, we got, I'm just going to be straight with you. This is one of the most complicated Master Grades out there in terms of, if you're not prepared for it. So, starting off, the lines you see on the face, those you do have to do yourself. I did that on both mine and my brother's copy because he refuses to line anything. You do get some nice decals with this. I only applied one of them. And that is this one right up here, the 00 on its head gem. I applied that because I like that there. That looks good. Aside from that, you get the standard transparent ones. This does have an LED gimmick for the head. I will show that off, but it's not the best. I leave, this kit can support a grand total, and this is why it set a new record here, of 5 LED units. It can support, just in what I have shown here, it can support 3. And there goes the action base. Because it can support the one in the chest, which lights up the head via light piping, and for whatever reason, only high-power LEDs, like the green one, work. I've tried it with yellow. That didn't give a reaction at all. I tried getting a clear light in there, unless it's pointing straight up, no reaction whatsoever. I tried it with a rainbow cycling LED, and that worked on certain colors, but other than that, nope. Overall, I would put the gimmick for the head at needs improvement because when it lights up, the stickers are just unfortunately not dark enough. They let too much light through, so it looks like he has faded mascara when his eyes light up. That's what I mean by it needs improvement. So in this case, I may actually disassemble the head if I'm going to be honest, and put in his traditional eyes, or I may just leave it like this for now. I don't know. But anyways, moving on, he's got his basic colors of the red, white, blue, yellow, and of course the dark gray inner frame, and green, of course, for the GN condensers. Every clear part on this is colored. You don't need to do any additional work to this. Just make extra sure you got all of the parts lined up the way they go. These green parts down at the legs are tapographed on the inside, so they have little engravings on the back here. This lines up exactly with the sticker. Pay attention, otherwise you're not going to have the greatest of effect, because it does have silver behind here on the sticker that will punch through here to illuminate this. It works. This kit has fantastic articulation, which for the price point, it should. Also, considering that this kit was known for doing essentially the Jackie Chan and the Van Damme and pretty much any martial arts move you can picture under the sun, yeah, this was definitely the kit to do it. The high grade is perfect. But moving right in, there is actually a way, and a lot of people don't know this. Once you put the GN drives in the shoulders, and yes, you might notice a little extra bit here, that is there on purpose. That is the connector for the O Riser, and I've lost that a couple times in my room, and it took me an hour and a half to find it. It wasn't fun. But what most people don't realize is you can actually just turn the GN drives while they're connected clockwise, and they'll turn on. They work really, really well. This one, same thing, just rotate and it turns on. A lot of people don't actually know that you can do this, because most people pop them out because you can get access to them from behind. You can pop them out and then turn them on and then slide them back in. I just prefer to have them connected and turned on like that. You don't have to do the full 360. I do, because if you go forward and then go back, it shuts them off. It does have an opening cockpit, although this one does it Freedom style. So what I mean by that is you pull the front panel forward, fold the head back, then you get to jimmy open the hatch, and there you can see your little Setsuna figure in there. This works out pretty well. However, this part right here can fall off, and it's not the white part that actually falls off, it's the clamp behind it. It could be a little better, but overall, it's not bad. Speaking of clamps, we do have locking clamps up here in the GN drive, so when the O-riser is equipped, you can slide the tab forward and it ain't dropping it. On my brother's version of this kit, oh boy howdy did we have fun. He had a 24-hour advantage on me, and he basically had nothing done. He had the O-riser done, barely any of 00 done, and within the time we were sitting next to each other building it, in the time it took him to basically get halfway through building the main body, I had the whole body done. The entire argument was him sitting next to me, dude, slow down, stop. Would you stop? Would you quit? It went on like this for about an hour. Because here I am, just building, cutting, sanding, all of it. I say sanding, but all I had on me was a set of nippers, so it's more like shaving. Moving on with the articulation, this is very good. The head is on a hinge down here because of the light piping system, so no giggity. Somewhat limited articulation, but can do a full 360. Works out pretty well. The V-fin on this is pretty well done. I don't think you have to worry about it. There's actually surprisingly not a lot of stickers on the head, considering the main camera for 00 actually was the gem here. So there is no main camera or rear camera stickers. Actually, that's not true. There is a rear camera sticker, but this is one of those clear ones for the aforementioned light piping gimmick. And this panel on the back pulls out and slides down to expose its combination port with the O-riser and also the sun unit. The thrusters on the back here are also movable, to which my brother responded the other day when I was building this thing with him. He couldn't figure out how to put these in. I just clicked these in and he's like, what the f-? He was very upset as to how fast I was able to figure this out. On his butt here, and this is probably one of the more interesting butt designs in Gundam, in that it's very basic. You got the beam sabers here, jammed up his butt, but not really, because they fold out to the sides where he can actually draw them, Exia style. However, unlike the Exia, this one actually keeps the blades out. The Exia, they have to fold up, then out, and that's way too loose, because both the rear skirtings move. On this, yeah, you don't see any rear skirting because he doesn't have any. The rear skirting on this is essentially the swords. I appreciate this. And yes, it does have a moving butt flap, so if you want to get it out of the way, even though it's not going to be in the way, you can. Side skirts, that's as far out as they go. So it goes out a good ways, but the problem is any further after this, they're going to fall off. There's no avoiding that, and that's just like one gripe I have. Zooming back out, the crotch, the front panel also comes forward and wiggles a little bit, and by little I mean little. You do have variable position hips. When they're down, it gets higher. When it's up, it gets shorter. And when they're down, you will have absolutely no problem getting the full leg forward. And while we have this opportunity, there's the first knee bend, a perfect 90. There's the second knee bend, also a perfect 90. We have a perfect 180 out of the double knee here. This is fantastic. With the variable hips, you're good. When they're down, you can get the full Van Damme splits, and I don't have to worry about this kit like I did my Astray, because with these down, this is a different style hip than the Astray, and it can do the Van Damme. And in case you're wondering what looks like it's coming out of his, that's the action-based connector. I have learned my lesson, and if I'm going to use an action-based connector, I'm leaving it on there from now on. And this is one of those kits where I believe it does benefit from having an action base. Because as you add more to this kit, and I'm going to have to get my turntable out of here, it will get more off balance based on what you add to it. Because, as I said, this is the 00 riser. It combines with a jet. The hands are the standard 3-1 in the thumb. These are the old style ones with a hinge, so I guess you could call them 00 old style, but at the same time, this similar hand was used on the Master Grade Banshee, the Unicorn. Basically, any Master Grade that had tab weaponry, it was used on pretty much all of those, including the Astrays. So I'm just going to get the turntable out of here now, so I can save on headache later. As for ankle, oh my god. There's the ankle out, or in. There's the out, so it's the same both ways. Very good backwards, very good forwards. Excellent toe down, decent toe forward. Couple it all together, can it crouch? Oh yeah. It can get that high knee to the face. And this works out really well. Except when it does that. Don't worry. This is why we leave our robots parked in the garage, standing up. Yes, 00, what were you thinking? This is why I leave my mobile suits in the garage laying down. So to remedy this, and so that that doesn't happen again, I'm just going to bring in the action base, because I need to focus on his weaponry before we get into anything. Starting off with his basic loadout, you have his shield segments. These work alright. You can fold one tab down all the way out, and if it decides to cooperate, folds all the way out, tabs together. This works alright. Just like the high grade, it has problems holding this. Pretty much every 00 has a problem with this shield design. It doesn't work in the double formation so much as it does in the single formation. But if you don't like it as a shield, you can take these parts off, fold the tabs in, and because I have the binder clips on there, I have to rotate these out of the way. And you can bring... Come on, shields, cooperate. You can attach the shields to the lower peg section of the O-Riser's binders. This gives it binder extensions with little blade parts on it. Yeah, I seem to notice a pattern here. Setsuna, do you have a real fascination with blades or something like that? It gives it nice little shoulder binders reminiscent of what it was actually going to get. But as for additional weaponry, you don't get much. I mean, you get the standard beam sabers as I showed you before. You do get a set of blades for them. I didn't bother taking them off the runner because, I mean, if you've seen one set of beam sabers, you've seen them all. Then you get the GN Sword 2s, and you get 2 of them. This is really good, and this weapon, it holds ridiculously well despite these hands. Of course, now that the camera's on, it's probably going to prove the other to be true, but once you get these in its hands, and I say that it holds these very well, what I'm actually saying is it holds these very well as swords. The rifle mode, on the other hand, is kind of pushing it. So I have one in the sword. Then I'll have this one switch to rifle mode. Yeah, it's not the best transformation in the world. You do have to, unfortunately, pop the blade off. So you have to pull the blade off because it is on a polycap in here, but there's a star to keep it from rotating. I wish it just could rotate. But I guess we haven't figured that out. Okay. Need to actually see what I'm doing here. Right, forget what I was saying. This holds the GN Sword 2s in either mode very well. This works phenomenally. The main event weapon, shall we call it, is unfortunately just like Exia's, too heavy for it to legitimately wield. How heavy is it? They felt the need to give you a dedicated hand for it. This set off some red flags with me. The wrist is locked at one position, however, it does rotate. I'm sorry, mine was just very stiff. It does rotate here. It was just not wanting to cooperate. It's swappable finger style, but it's weird swappable finger style. So you have to put the weapon together like so. With the, I'm going to do this off camera so I can actually see what I'm doing. You have to put the peg through the tab on the handle first. And it's going to fight you on this. It doesn't want to do it. It's not having any of this. This is my experience with swappable fingers in general. They just don't want to cooperate. Once you get the hand on there, I mean, it's... Yeah, no, it's not on there at all. So I got the hand on there, and not even half a second later, it falls off. So this is one of the weirder parts. These work fine. This one needs a new handle for some reason. But let's get this one over with. Gonna pull this down so I can do this a little off camera so I can actually see what I'm doing for a change. Get it all lined up. Come on. I said line up. A little more. Yes, just have the whole other hand fall out. Yay, whatever. Reconnect his other hand, and... So I never actually got this in the hand. It looks like it's in the hand. It's not. And when I said it's too heavy for the arm, that's what I mean. It's literally too heavy for these joints. It goes up, but then over time, and you can see it right now, I'm not touching it at all. The entire arm is slowly sagging back down because of how heavy it is. There is no way to fix this. It's just the weight of this weapon, and it's, like I said, it's not being held in the hand itself. There is a peg for it. These hands will hold it, but the majority of it is actually being stopped right back here as it pegs in down here and clamps up over here. No locking point, it's all down here. The GN Sword 3 does fold, and unfortunately, if you're wondering, hey, can I make this a double arm variant? Not from what I've seen. This one's handle is made exclusively for the right hand, while the high grades is ambidextrous. So that one, if you're going to do a twin GN Sword 3 style, I recommend doing it that way. It gets pretty heavy, but surprisingly the high grade can hold it up really well. So let's just get... Actually, you know what? No, let's leave this connected for now. Get that lowered. Then slide you back after we pop the shields off. And these blue sections on the shield will come off. It's part of their gimmick and transformation system. I don't like it. While I'm on the subject of the shields in that area, you do also get all the parts to make this into the movie variant of the 00 Riser. So you do get the particle tanks. You have to take off the GN drive caps and replace them with these. These are at best. I don't use these, however, I like the option. You also get a smoke white canopy for the O-Riser, which, speaking of, here's the O-Riser. This I like. This is ridiculously solid and improved upon the high grade in almost every way. So starting off, it does have an opening cockpit, which I'm just going to have to get this out of the way so I can get the extra clearance I need to jimmy this thing open. There we go, and we have the, well, lover boy of 00. Here's Saji, and yeah, it's a thing. I appreciate the opening cockpit. I love the fact that it's not actually up here where you'd think it would be. It's nice. I leave mine with the orange O-Riser visor. I like this better than the smoke white. It gives it some nice flair, breaks it up, and it's a nice color scheme. To combine this, first you're going to want to split off the binders. You just pull them and they come off. For normal transformation, you would slide this part forward, bring this out, and push this hole right here. That's where those clamps would go. Then reconnect it. This is also how you put the LED unit in. You put it in here and turn it on. Then you just reconnect the drive section as so. Then get it all lined up so you can use that peg section there. Now 00 is getting a little side heavy, so to remedy this, what we have to do is quickly give him his other side. Kind of display the little attack wings on it. There. Now he's getting balanced out. So to transform the O-Riser backpack, simply pull, pull, fold, fold. If that doesn't make much sense, I apologize. But then to connect, pull out, slide down, peg the whole thing in. And when I was first building this thing, just reviewing online, I thought this backpack was going to be really loose because I didn't see one of the locking clamps. No, this backpack is really tight on here. For the gimmick, don't worry. You're not going to drop this or lose this. It's on there. But this is the Master Grade 00 Riser, and this is without, like, you can splay these out. You can put 5 LEDs in here. I only have a grand total of 4, 3 green and 1 yellow. So, need to get a few more greens if I'm going to actually light this baby up. You get a bunch of effect parts with it. You get the Riser Sword Beam effect parts. This is more or less the same one from the high grade, just massively blown up. For the GN Sword 2s, you get the Giant Beam effect. This clips on, no problem, does not compromise balance in the least. Then as an added option, and I have to transfer this out of the hand, you get this adapter segment here. This is for making his twin blade. And oh, what a blade. Because normally when I say twin blade, everybody in the community is like, oh boy, here we go, it's not going to hold it. Well, nope. As Thanos said, Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. How perfectly balanced is it? Well, let's put it in his hand. Let's close it all up. He's holding it, no issue. Though I am seeing a little bit of... No, that's just droopage. I thought that was warping in the blades. No, that's fine. Get them all going the right way. Then let's add on the effect parts and see where we're looking at here. Because, like I said, surprisingly, the GN Sword 3 is too heavy, and you'd think having all the mass of both the GN Sword 2s combined, well, you'd think that would be too heavy for the arm, or even the wrist, or even the hand. Nope. They work just fine. And if this effect part will ever cooperate... No problems whatsoever holding the twin blade with the effect parts. Keep in mind, his hand is pointing down. So if he was going to drop this, this would be the most opportune time for him to do so. It's not going to fall. This is the most solid connection it has in terms of weaponry. I love this connection. If you want to, you can take the shields and connect them up on the binders of the O-Riser itself, so you can have binders on top of binders on top of binders. Well, it's like binderception. And I don't know why it's not wanting to work today. It does want to go in there. There we go. Just wasn't applying enough force. So, you know, if force doesn't work, just use more force. And if V-force doesn't work, you're not a Jedi. But you can lock it up there, and as you can see, adding all this extra equipment onto its GN drive that it's hanging onto does not compromise balance in the least. Because of that locking point, you're fine. You're going to get pretty much whatever pose you want, and if you're wondering, hey, can I still rotate the GN drives? Yep. You can rotate them on the GN drive itself. So if you're going to have the LEDs in there and you're going to turn them on, you can actually turn them on and off just using the binder. It's a nice little addition that I don't believe they were intentionally creating when they did, and it just works so well. Thank you, Bandai. You made a fantastic kit here. So, this has been the review on the Master Grade 00 Riser from Bandai. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you just want to share your stories upon building this thing, let me know down in the comments section below. I'll be more than happy to respond whenever I can. And thank you very much for watching. Have a very good day.